Welcome back to Talk Tickers, where we take those earnings calls that leave you snoozing and turn them into something you actually want to listen to.
We do the deep dive so you don't have to.
And today we are strapping in and getting ready for takeoff with GE Aerospace's Q4 2024 earnings call.
This one's particularly interesting.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, this is their first full year out of the gate as a standalone company, so these are their debut numbers.
All right, so no pressure then.
None at all, but let me tell you, they came out swinging.
They did. They really did. And you know what I love?
What's that?
They didn't just meet expectations. They obliterated them.
Yeah, they blew past it.
We're talking record-breaking revenue profits up a mind-blowing $1.7 billion and free cash flow landing nice and smooth at $1.3 billion.
Those are some seriously impressive numbers.
A statement, right?
Absolutely. It's a sign that this company is not just surviving, they are thriving in a big way.
Especially given all the craziness we've seen in the economy lately. And, the aviation industry has had its fair share of turbulence the past few years.
Oh yeah, they've been through the ringer, but they've come out stronger.
Speaking of turbulence, can we address the elephant in the room?
The supply chain.
The supply chain. It's been a headache for everyone, and GE Aerospace is no exception.
Definitely still a factor.
Yeah, delays in those engine deliveries are a real issue, but it looks like they're trying to get ahead of it.
They are. They're not just sitting back and taking it.
What do they do?
They've got this initiative they're calling Flight Delay Deck. Over 550 people embedded right there in their supply base, trying to smooth things out.
So it's like having their own team on the ground.
Exactly. Boots on the ground, tackling those bottlenecks head on.
That's smart. I like that proactive approach.
It's more than just a quick fix. It's about building a more resilient supply chain for the future.
And that's crucial for any company, but especially one in the aviation game.
Absolutely. Consistency and reliability are key.
All right, so let's talk about the engines driving this success, literally and figuratively.
You're talking about the EV?
The LAP engine. It's their star performer, and it seems like they're always finding ways to make it even better.
Well, they're not resting on their laurels, that's for sure.
So what are they doing to keep it at the top of its game?
They're constantly innovating, implementing these durability upgrades that extend the engine's lifespan.
So less maintenance, less downtime for the airlines.
Exactly, and happier customers all around.
Smart move. And they're also pouring a ton of money into aftermarket services, over $1 billion.
That's a serious commitment.
It shows they're not just interested in making a sale. They're in it for the long haul.
Building those relationships, providing ongoing support, making sure those engines stay in the air for years to come.
It's like they're saying, we're not just selling you an engine, we're partnering with you.
Exactly. It's a smart strategy that builds trust and loyalty.
Okay, so zooming out for a minute. What do these results tell us about the future of GE Aerospace?
I think they're sending a very clear message.
And what's that message?
This is a company that's not just flying, they're soaring.
They're aiming for the stars.
Exactly. They're embracing innovation, tackling those challenges head on, and they're really positioning themselves as a leader in this industry.
All right, so they're crushing it in the present. They've got these big plans for the future. Now, let's dig into the specifics a little bit.
Let's do it.
First up, that record-breaking performance, exceeding financial expectations in such a dramatic way, it's got to feel good.
Oh, it's a major win, especially for their first year out on their own.
What do you think fueled this exceptional performance?
Well, the rebound in air travel is definitely a factor.
People are ditching those Zoom calls and ready to fly again.
Exactly, and airlines are scrambling to upgrade their fleets. They want those fuel-efficient planes.
Which plays right into GE Aerospace's hands.
Absolutely. The LAP engine is in high demand, but it's not just about riding that wave of recovery.
So there's more to it.
Yeah, they've been making these strategic investments in R&D for a while now.
Oh yeah, those futuristic engines we talked about earlier.
Exactly, and that focus on building a more resilient supply chain, remember Flight Deck.
Right.
And their commitment to customer service, it's all paying off.
They're not just relying on external factors. They're taking control.
They're shaping their own destiny.
I like it. Okay, but let's not forget about those futuristic engines, the open fan and those hybrid electric systems.
Oh, those are game changers.
It's like something out of a sci-fi movie.
I know, right? But they're making serious progress.
It seems like they're not content with just being a leader today. They want to define the future of flight.
And they have the resources and the expertise to do it.
All right, now back down to earth for a minute. Let's revisit those supply chain issues we talked about.
Yeah, that's the reality check.
It's a hurdle, but they seem to be taking it head on with that flight deck initiative.
It's a smart move.
So tell me more about it. What's the thinking behind it?
Well, it's all about getting ahead of the curve by embedding those folks directly in their supply network.
So they're right there in the trenches.
Exactly. They're getting those real-time insights into the problems and working together to find solutions.
It's a collaborative approach.
Absolutely. And it's more effective than just barking orders from afar.
So it's not just a Band-Aid solution.
No, it's a long-term strategy to build a more robust and responsive supply chain.
Okay, so it's a work in progress, but they're taking it seriously.
They are. And I think that commitment will pay off in the long run.
All right, so they're making moves on the supply chain front. Now let's shift gears and zoom in on the LEP engine.
Their star player.
It's clearly a winner for them, and they're constantly working to make it even better.
Well, you got to stay ahead of the competition.
So what are the latest improvements?
They've implemented these durability upgrades, extending the engine's life, reducing maintenance costs.
Makes sense. Keep those engines running smoothly.
Exactly. And happier customers, which leads to more sales.
And that billion-dollar investment in aftermarket services.
That's a statement right there.
It says we're here for you for the long haul.
Exactly. It's not just about selling the engine, it's about supporting it throughout its lifespan.
That's a great way to build customer loyalty.
And create a steady stream of revenue.
Win-win. All right, so we've got the LEP engine going strong. But what about their other major segment?
You mean defense and propulsion technologies?
DPT.
That's the one.
That's where they're cooking up some truly groundbreaking stuff.
Oh yeah, cutting-edge stuff that could have applications way beyond just defense.
Give me an example.
Those hybrid electric propulsion systems?
Now, those are fascinating.
Game changers. They could revolutionize both military and commercial aviation.
Quieter flights, cleaner flights, more fuel-efficient flights.
Sign me up.
This is a glimpse into the future of flight, and GE Aerospace is leading the charge.
Absolutely. They're not just adapting to the future, they're shaping it.
I love that they're not just playing the game, they're rewriting the rules.
Yes, they have the track record to back it up.
Years of experience developing those mission-critical technologies.
Exactly, and now they're combining that experience with these cutting-edge innovations.
It's a powerful combination.
A force to be reckoned with.
All right, so we've got two strong segments, commercial engines and services and defense and propulsion technologies, both firing on all cylinders.
It's a balanced portfolio.
What does this tell us about the overall outlook for GE Aerospace?
I think they're in a very good position.
So continued growth.
Yes, they're projecting continued growth in both revenue and profits.
And what about their strategy?
They're putting a big emphasis on services and aftermarket support.
Smart move.
Absolutely. It's a more predictable and recurring revenue stream.
Keeps those investors happy.
Exactly. They like to see that stability.
It's like they're building this diversified portfolio within their own company, ensuring that steady flow of income, even if one segment hits a bump in the road.
Exactly. They're not putting all their eggs in one basket.
And it aligns perfectly with that long-term vision of building those lasting relationships with customers.
It all ties together.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive into GE Aerospace's performance.
We've barely scratched the surface.
There's always more to explore.
But we've laid the groundwork.
We've set the stage.
And now it's time to dive deeper.
Into the nitty-gritty.
The numbers.
The details.
The stuff that makes those investors tick.
Join us for part 2, where we'll really break it down.
And uncover the secrets behind GE Aerospace's success.
Don't miss it.
We'll be right back after a quick break.
All right, so let's roll up our sleeves and get into those financials.
Yeah, let's crunch some numbers.
But first things first.
The disclaimer.
The disclaimer, as always, we are not offering any financial advice here. This is purely for informational and entertainment purposes only.
Your financial decisions are your own.
Exactly. We're just here to break it down and have some fun with it.
All right, so let's talk revenue, because that double-digit growth got everyone's attention.
Oh, yeah. $8.5 billion in revenue just for the fourth quarter. That's not chump change.
Not at all. It's
Yeah.
impressive, and it makes you wonder, where's all that growth coming from?
Well, let's break it down to their core business. The commercial engines and services segment, they saw a 19% jump in revenue.
So that's
$6.9 billion. Wows.
That tells you the demand for air travel is back with a vengeance.
People are ready to fly again.
They are, and airlines are eager to upgrade their fleets. They want those fuel-efficient planes.
Which plays right into GE Aerospace's hand.
Absolutely. Their LEP engine is a big part of that story.
Right, so commercial aviation is booming, but what about the defense side of things?
Their Defense and Propulsion Technologies segment, or DPT as we like to call it,
Catchy?
they also had a solid quarter, pulled in $1.6 billion in revenue,
Not too shabby.
a 4% increase compared to last year.
So even with all the buzz around commercial aviation, The defense side is holding its own.
Absolutely. Those cutting-edge technologies they're developing are attracting some serious attention.
Makes sense. Governments around the world are always looking for that next big thing.
And GE Aerospace is right there on the cutting edge.
Okay, so revenue's up. That's great. But what about the bottom line? Let's talk profits.
Now, this is where it gets really juicy.
Hit me with it.
They reported a profit of $2 billion for the quarter.
$2 billion with a B.
That's a 49% surge compared to the same period last year.
Holy moly, that's what I call growth.
It's a sign that they're not just growing, they're growing profitably.
And that's what investors want to see.
Exactly. They like to see those profit margins expanding, and GE Aerospace delivered.
So they're making money, they're investing in the future, and they're returning value to shareholders.
It's a winning combination.
All right, so they're crushing it in the present.
Yeah.
But what about their plans for the future? What's their outlook for 2025?
Well, they're forecasting low double-digit revenue growth for the full year.
So they're expecting this momentum to continue.
They are, and that's on top of the already impressive growth they achieved in 2024.
So they're not just aiming to maintain their current performance, they're looking to exceed it.
They're setting the bar high.
Bold move, especially given all the economic uncertainty out there and those supply chain headaches we talked about.
It is a bold move, but it shows their confidence in their strategy and their ability to execute.
All right, so they're bullish on revenue. What about profits?
They're projecting profits to land somewhere between $7.8 billion and $8.2 billion for 2025.
It's a solid increase.
About a 10% jump compared to this year.
Not too shabby at all.
It's a healthy increase, and it suggests they're confident in their ability to maintain profitability even as they continue to invest in those future growth opportunities.
So they're finding that balance between investing for the future and delivering results in the present.
Exactly. It's a delicate dance, but they seem to be doing it well.
All right, let's zero in on their commercial engines and services segment for a minute.
To bread and butter.
That's where the majority of their revenue and profits come from, right?
It is, and it's performing exceptionally well,
We're talking that 19% year-over-year revenue jump we mentioned earlier,
reaching $6.9 billion in the fourth quarter alone.
driven by that resurgence in air travel.
Exactly. People are flying again, and airlines are clamoring for those new fuel-efficient planes.
And GE Aerospace is right there to meet that demand with their LAP engine.
It's become the industry standard for those narrow-body aircraft,
And it's helping airlines save money on fuel.
which is a big deal in this environment.
Absolutely, fuel costs are a major factor for airlines.
So GE Aerospace is providing a real value proposition there.
And they're not just stopping at the sale, they're investing heavily in those aftermarket services,
Building those long-term relationships with their customers.
making sure those engines stay in the air for years to come.
It's a smart strategy. It creates that predictable, recurring revenue stream.
And it builds loyalty.
Exactly. Those airlines know they can count on GE Aerospace.
Okay, but let's be real here. Those supply chain issues are still a concern.
Oh yeah, they're not out of the woods yet.
Even with that flight deck initiative, they're still facing delays in engine deliveries.
It's a reality check.
It shows that even the best-run companies aren't immune to these global supply chain challenges.
It's a reminder that we're all interconnected in this global economy.
And when one part of the system gets disrupted, it can have ripple effects throughout the industry.
Exactly, but I think it's important to note that GE Aerospace is taking those proactive steps to mitigate those risks.
They're not just sitting around waiting for things to get better.
They're actively working to improve their supply chain resilience.
And they're sharing those challenges with the rest of the industry.
Transparency is key.
It helps everyone understand the situation and work together to find solutions.
Exactly. It's a collaborative effort.
Okay, so the supply chain is a work in progress, but they're making moves.
They are, and I think that's what investors are looking for.
They want to see that they're taking it seriously.
Exactly. They want to see that commitment to long-term stability.
All right, let's shift gears for a minute and talk about their defense business.
DPT.
It might be smaller than their commercial operations, but it's still a major player.
And it's where they're really pushing the boundaries of technology.
Yeah, those hybrid electric propulsion systems we talked about.
Game changers?
They could revolutionize both military and commercial aviation.
Quieter flights, cleaner flights, more efficient flights.
It's a win-win-win.
And GE Aerospace is at the forefront of that innovation.
They're investing heavily in research and development. They're attracting the best talent.
They're building the partnerships they need to bring those technologies to market,
It's a long-term play, but it has enormous potential.
both financially and in terms of its impact on the aviation industry as a whole,
It's exciting to see a company that's not afraid to invest in the future.
especially when those investments have the potential to make such a positive impact.
Okay, so we've got a strong commercial business, a forward-looking defense segment, and a commitment to operational excellence.
It's a powerful combination.
What does this all mean for the future of GE Aerospace?
I think they're well positioned for continued success.
They're firing on all cylinders.
They are, and they're not showing any signs of slowing down.
All right, before we jump into our This Is Not Financial Advice segment, let's take a step back and recap some of the key themes we've uncovered so far.
Sounds good. Let's synthesize.
So what are the big takeaways from this deep dive?
Well, first off, GE Aerospace is performing exceptionally well, exceeding those financial expectations, securing those big orders, demonstrating robust growth in both their commercial and defense businesses.
It's a good time to be in the aviation business.
It seems to be.
And they're not just riding the wave of a recovering market, they're actively shaping their own destiny.
Through those strategic investments, those proactive measures, and that laser focus on customer satisfaction.
They're not just playing the game, they're changing the rules.
Exactly. They're setting a new standard for the industry.
And they're doing it with a commitment to sustainability, which is something we haven't seen from a lot of other companies.
That's what makes them stand out.
They're not just talking the talk, they're walking the walk,
Mm.
investing in those open fan engines, those hybrid electric propulsion systems.
They're putting their money where their mouth is.
Exactly. And that's what investors want to see.
They want to see that long-term vision, that commitment to a sustainable future.
And let's not forget their commitment to those shareholders, those increased share buybacks, that dividend hike, and that strong outlook for 2025.
Those are all positive signs.
It's clear that they're focused on delivering value to their investors.
And they're doing it in a way that's responsible and sustainable.
Right, so we've got a company that's performing well, innovating like crazy, and committed to both its customers and its shareholders.
What more could you ask for?
Now, for the moment you've all been waiting for, it's time for our This Is Not Financial Advice segment.
Where we let our imaginations run wild.
And come up with some purely hypothetical and outrageously speculative trade ideas.
This is just for fun, folks.
Don't take this seriously.
We're not financial advisors.
But we do like to think big.
So let's play a game, What If?
Ooh, I like where this is going.
What if GE Aerospace took all their expertise in aviation, all their engineering prowess,
And combined it with,
the electric vehicle revolution?
now you're talking.
Imagine GE Aerospace partnering with a major electric vehicle manufacturer.
Tesla.
Sure, why not?
To develop hybrid electric engines for smaller aircraft.
Electric planes for those short hops between cities.
Imagine hopping on an electric plane for a quick flight from New York to Boston.
No more noisy jet engines, no more smelly fuel.
Just a quiet, smooth electric ride.
It would revolutionize regional travel.
It would be a game changer.
And GE Aerospace, with their aviation expertise and the electric vehicle industry's rapid advancements.
They could be the ones to make it happen,
It's a bold idea.
but it's not entirely out of the realm of possibility.
And that's what this segment is all about, exploring those what-ifs, those wild ideas.
The stuff that makes you think.
And who knows, maybe someday we'll see electric planes soaring through the skies.
Powered by GE Aerospace.
It's a future I'd like to see.
Me too.
Oh.
All right, that wraps up our This Is Not Financial Advice segment and part 2 of our deep dive into GE Aerospace's fourth quarter 2024 earnings call.
We've covered a lot of ground,
From their financial performance to those cutting-edge technologies.
and we've had some fun along the way.
But we're not done yet.
There's still more to explore,
Join us for part 3, where we'll wrap it all up.
with some final takeaways and insights.
And maybe even a few more wild ideas.
You never know.
Stay tuned. Welcome back to Talk Tickers. We're wrapping up our deep dive into GE Aerospace's Q4 2024 earnings call.
Time to put a bow on it.
We've dissected the financials, explored the innovation, and even thrown out a few of those wild trade ideas, just for fun, of course.
Got to keep things interesting.
So now let's bring it all home with some key takeaways and maybe a little bit of crystal ball gazing for what the future holds.
Looking into the future of flight.
Exactly. So what are we walking away with after spending all this time with GE Aerospace's numbers?
Well, the first thing that jumps out at me is their performance. They are on fire.
Crushing it.
Crushing it, exceeding expectations, securing major orders, demonstrating strong growth in both their commercial and defense segments.
They're not just meeting the moment, they're exceeding it.
Right, and it's not just a matter of luck or being in the right place at the right time.
There's a lot of strategy at play.
Absolutely. Their investments in R&D, their proactive approach to the supply chain, that customer-centric focus, it's all part of a very deliberate plan.
They're shaping their own destiny.
Exactly. They're not just reacting to the market. They're anticipating it. They're leading it.
They're playing chess Well, everyone else is playing checkers,
That's a great analogy.
and they're not afraid to make those bold moves.
Like investing in sustainable aviation.
Yeah, that's something that really sets them apart.
It's not just lip service. They're backing it up with real investments.
Those open fan engines,
Yeah.
those hybrid electric propulsion systems.
They're putting their money where their mouth is. They're committed to a greener future for the industry.
And that commitment resonates with investors.
Oh, absolutely. Investors are increasingly looking for companies that align with their values.
And GE Aerospace is ticking all those boxes.
Financial performance, innovation, sustainability, shareholder value.
They're firing on all cylinders.
They are, and I think that's what makes them such a compelling story. A company that's not just focused on the bottom line, but on making a positive impact on the world.
They're aiming for the stars.
Exactly, and they're bringing their investors along for the ride.
So what's next for GE Aerospace?
Well, if the sky's the limit.
I had to get that one in.
Of course you did, but seriously, they're well positioned for continued success.
They've got the momentum, the strategy, the resources, the talent.
And a vision.
Exactly. They're not just building a company, they're building a legacy.
And it's going to be exciting to watch what they do next.
Absolutely. So for anyone listening who's trying to make sense of it all, here's the bottom line. GE Aerospace is a company on the rise.
They're a force to be reckoned with.
They're leading the way in innovation, pushing the boundaries of technology, and setting a new standard for the industry.
And they're doing it all with a focus on sustainability and shareholder value.
It's a winning combination, and one that's sure to pay off in the long run.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
So there you have it, folks. That wraps up our deep dive into GE Aerospace's Q4 2024 earnings call.
We hope you enjoyed the ride.
And remember, as always, this is not financial advice. Do your own research before making any investment decisions.
We're just here to break it down and have some fun with it.
Thanks for tuning in to Talk Tickers.
And keep those headphones on for more earnings call deep dives.
We'll see you next time.